I'm at the Kyocera booth at CTIA Wireless 2011, and here we're with the dual screen Echo. Can you give us a tour of the new device and what we can expect from it?
Sure, I'm happy to. So you're right, this is the Kyocera Echo. It's going to launch April 17th at Sprint. It's the first dual touchscreen smartphone on the market. As you can see, it's an Android device. It's going to launch for $199, and Sprint is going to start doing what they call the Reserve Now program. Lets you basically put in your reservation for the phone starting on March 26th by going to sprint.com/echo. I should also say there is a website for this device. It's www.echobykyocera.com. So if you miss anything in this tour, you can go there and see all the specs and get a quick tour of the device there as well. But I can run it through very quickly for you. You can see in its closed configuration, it's a very standard single screen smartphone device. Nice 3.5-inch display, WVGA, high resolution 800 by 480 pixels. Does everything a normal Android device would do. So this is, out of the box, very nice, fits in your pocket, not too thick, very nice to use as a phone. Where the real magic of the phone comes in, however, is when you open it and you get to the dual displays. Now, you can use this in a couple of configurations. You can use it closed, you can use it open as it is right now, and when it is clicked shut like this, it's very rigid. But you can also pull it apart a little bit, and you can actually use the device almost like a laptop. So, I'll show you in a second, but if you're doing things like email, you can put the keypad down below and actually use it in this configuration. Now, with that said, there are 4 real use modes for this device. One is the single display, as we talked about before. The other 3 are all dual display functionality. And one is something that we call simul-task, and it's unique to this phone given its unique status as the only dual touchscreen device. What that is, for example, if I go here and I open the phone's browser, oops, I held that too long. Right now we're on the microsite for the device. Simply by touching both displays at once, I can pull up application menus. These are the core applications on the phone. And I had the web browser going. If I wanted to take some of that information I found in the browser and send it to somebody, I can go over here and open email on this display. So now all this information, I can continue to browse and use this in the single screen mode while using my email client, and I can create a new email and send out that information.
So you could just cut, copy, and paste it over, so you don't have to open an email application, then open a mail application and all that.
That's exactly right. I'll let you get a close-up too. These are the applications that are available for simultask. So it's independent use of the 2 screens. You can also see in the middle there's the white center circle there that lets you switch the 2 back and forth if it's more convenient for you. So that's called simultask. That's one of the ways to use the dual screens. Another way is something that we call optimized mode. And in optimized mode, you're talking about using the 2 displays in a complementary fashion for one application. So a great example, if I slide over, we have something that we wrote for this phone. It's called ViewQ. It's an application that is a YouTube video player. You can see this has YouTube videos. Right now it's playing a music video in the top. I don't want to start it because the sound will mess up the video, but you get the full real estate of the top to watch your video. Down below you can search all of the YouTube videos, and when you find something that you want to see after this one's over, you can just take your finger and drag and drop it into the gray box, and that will actually queue it up and start buffering it so that when you do finish the one video, the next one is ready to go for you. So that is something called optimized. There are going to be a number of applications that do that. I can show you another one. It's called, it's the phone's gallery. So with images, for example, you can see you've got your full image above, all your thumbnails below. You can swipe and see all the different ones. Find something you want to see, you just tap on it. And then if you want to use the full real estate, so we've talked about 3 use modes: single mode or single screen mode, optimized mode, simultask mode. The last is called tablet mode, and that's using the full real estate of both displays as one oversized display. So if I just take and hold my finger on this, you can see the image will go full screen, and this is true for a lot of things. Most Android applications, right, that you would get off of Android Market will do this when you launch them if the phone is open. They'll operate in the full dual display. Things like mapping, for example, looks amazing when you can get so much real estate. This is together about 45% larger than an iPhone display, for example, when you consider the two of them together. So those are really the 4 ways to use the device. We are announcing at the CTIA show our Android developer program, and Kyocera is already working with a bunch of the biggest names in the business. On the gaming side, we're working with EA, Namco, Gameloft. These are companies that are going to have optimized applications, so written specifically to take advantage of the dual displays when the phone launches on the 17th. We have Jibe, which is a social media application that lets you basically aggregate all your social media, Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, Flickr, Picasa, those types of things, all through one portal application. We're working with MobiTV, for example, to optimize the Sprint TV application for the device, so you can watch your Sprint TV in one and have a full channel guide below. We have Swipe that's working with us to create the largest virtual keypad. I should show you this. It's really compelling. If I open an email and I want to reply, you can see the size of this Swipe keypad. Should set it up like this because it's almost like using a little laptop. The size of this virtual keypad makes it so much more usable than in a typical single display where that keypad is going to take up a small portion of one display. So it makes for a really compelling user experience. So that's really a quick run-through of the usability on the phone. From a features standpoint, I should say it also has a 5-megapixel camera that does 720p HD video as well. The phone will come from Sprint at that $199 price point with an 8GB SD card, micro SD card in the box. It will support up to 32 gigabytes micro SD cards. And we're also going to ship the phone with an additional battery. The battery life on the phone is great. You'll get about 5.5 to 7 hours of talk time. Very good performance when it's in multimedia applications as well. We're adding another battery because we know the type of user that is going to be drawn to this device is going to be the power user, the person who puts down their phone basically only when they go to bed. And with that extra battery is going to have its own little tiny charging case. You can charge the battery independent of the phone, and then if you plug that spare battery into the phone itself, you can use it to recharge the phone's main battery. So a lot of extra value in the box between the SD card and the extra battery at that $199 price point, April 17th when it launches at Sprint.
Can you talk a little bit about the hinge? I know there are some users who may be concerned about the hinge.
Sure.
I looked at it and it looks very solid and feels excellent. So
No, I'm really glad you asked that because it's really the secret to this whole device. The hinge was designed with a couple of things in mind. One was that we knew this needed to behave as a smartphone first. So you'll see when it's set up as a phone like you would use a phone, there's no overhang on the hinge. It's completely invisible. It disappears. But when you do want to open the device, the hinge, you can see it's made from a super copper alloy, and its structural design analysis was done. This thing is really strong. It's gone through really heavy durability testing because obviously we can't sell a product that's going to fall apart. This is it's so unique in the industry. There are 6 patents pending right now alone on the hinge design. So the hinge, the two things that it needs to do is obviously be very strong, disappear when the phone is closed, and then when the phone is open, it needs to be able to slide those screens so close together that gap is less than 5 millimeters. We call it the seam between the two displays, that you can actually treat the whole thing as one oversized display. And so that's the uniqueness of the hinge that's allowed us to do this.
So as one oversized display, I think it's a 4.7 inch
It's
display.
4.7 inch diagonally, although I will say that doesn't really do justice because it's much wider in format also. You've gone from a single display, typical in WVGA, being 800 by 480. Now you've got 800 by 960. So from a real estate standpoint, if you compare this to an iPhone, for example, it's about 46% more display than you would get out of an iPhone when you combine these two together.
I think the iPhone's, what, 960 by 640, I believe,
Oh,
the Retina
gosh.
displays. So
You know, I can tell you from an inches standpoint, the iPhone is 2.95 by 1.97. This is the iPhone 4 we're talking about. When you combine our two displays, you've got 2.98 inches across, and then going up and down, you've got dual 1.79. So it comes out to 3.58 by 2.98. So it's too many numbers, but basically bottom line is this is about 10.7 square inches of display, whereas on iPhone 4, for example, you get about 5.8 square inches. You get much more usable display on a device like this.
and like compared to, say, the Dell Streak 5, which is a 5-inch smartphone,
Right.
I like the versatility of this because you still have, the compact form factor when it's folded together, and then you still have the usability of a larger tablet if you need it.
Sure, and this is, let's be very clear, this is not going to replace a tablet. This is not meant to take the place of a iPad, a Galaxy tablet. Those are very nice devices, and they have their places in the market too. But your point is right on the money. The fact that this was designed first and foremost to be a phone. It's very pocketable, it's very lightweight, you're still well under 7 ounces. It's very easy to use in this configuration. The fact that you can open it and get that tablet mode, it's not a tablet, we call it tablet mode, and still get that extra real estate and functionality. We haven't lost sight of this being a phone first, but it opens up a whole new functionality, a whole new usage scenario that wasn't available in the market before.
So really quickly, some of the radios and sensors like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, proximity sensor, accelerometer are all included, right?
All in there, yeah. The phone,
GPS as well.
yep, does have Wi-Fi, does have GPS, does have the proximity sensor, does have the 5-megapixel camera and HD video, accelerometers obviously as well. So yeah, you've got the full host of features and functionality you'd expect from a higher-end Android device.
1 gigahertz processor.
Yes, that's right. It has a 1 gigahertz Snapdragon processor.
Android 2.2.
Android 2.2 at launch, and we'll have an upgrade path from there.
So, and that means that it does support Adobe Flash 10.1 at least, right?
Yes, my understanding is that is true. Yes.
And Sprint 3G.
That's correct. It is on the Sprint nationwide network. Right now, really solid nationwide network, getting extremely good data speeds on this. We've had some people who have asked about 3G versus 4G, but it's been almost universal. Everyone who's actually picked up the product and tested it out and tried it has had no concerns about it. It hasn't been an issue. The product performs extremely well on Sprint's network.
Well, thank you for the demo of the Kyocera Echo.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming by.